Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a simple question. Have you ever waited for someone to walk your journey with you and they never showed up? Many of us keep standing at the crossroads of life, hoping someone will hold our hand, guide us, motivate us, or accompany us. But life whispers a profound truth. Sometimes you must force yourself to move forward alone, and that is not a weakness. It is one of the greatest strengths a human being can have. Growth begins the moment you step outside the familiar walls of your comfort zone. It is easy to remain where things feel predictable, safe, and effortless, but nothing extraordinary ever grows in a place of ease. When life challenges you to walk alone, it is not punishing you, it is preparing you. The very act of moving forward by yourself stretches the mind, sharpens the spirit, and strengthens your inner resolve in ways that companionship never can. Growth demands discomfort, and discomfort is often found only when you take that bold step into the unknown, trusting that you will find your way even without a guiding hand beside you. When you walk alone, you begin to hear your own thoughts more clearly. You understand your fears, your strengths, and your habits more deeply. It forces you to confront what you have avoided, question what you have believed, and reassess what truly matters. Most people never experience this level of self-awareness because they remain surrounded by noise, opinions, expectations, and distractions. Solitude, though uncomfortable, acts as a mirror. It reflects the truth of who you are and reveals the areas where growth is waiting to happen. And once you see that truth, you cannot unsee it. You feel compelled to evolve. Leaving the comfort zone also teaches resilience. When you choose to move without support, you learn how to rely on your own abilities. You discover strengths you never recognized before. You realize that you are capable of handling challenges, solving problems, and making decisions independently. This builds confidence, not the superficial confidence that depends on validation from others, but the genuine inner confidence that can only be earned through experience. Every step you take alone becomes evidence that you can face uncertainty and still rise. The discomfort of walking alone also forces you to grow emotionally. You learn patience because results take time. You learn emotional control because there is no one to blame. You learn perseverance because giving up means letting yourself down. Each of these qualities becomes a part of your character, shaping you into someone calm, stable, and grounded. These are qualities that can only be built when life places you in situations where you have no choice but to depend on your own inner strength. Stepping outside your comfort zone also awakens your creativity and resourcefulness. When there is no familiar path to follow and no one to guide you, you begin to think differently. You experiment, innovate, and find solutions you never would have considered. Growth happens because your mind becomes flexible rather than rigid. You start seeing possibilities instead of problems, opportunities instead of obstacles. This shift in mindset is one of the greatest gifts of venturing into the unknown. Most importantly, moving forward alone teaches you responsibility for your own future. It makes you realize that your success, happiness, and growth are not dependent on others. They are shaped by your choices, actions, and mindset. When you accept this truth, you stop waiting and start acting. You stop depending and start leading. You stop looking for permission and start creating your own path. This moment of taking responsibility becomes a turning point where real personal transformation begins. Though the comfort zone feels safe, it also keeps you small. It limits your potential, restricts your vision, and holds back your best self from emerging. The decision to step out, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain, is the decision to grow. It is the decision to rewrite your future with courage rather than fear. Walking alone may feel heavy at first, but with every step, you grow lighter from the burdens of doubt and stronger in the power of self-belief. Eventually, the discomfort fades, but the growth remains forever. Not everyone is meant to accompany you on your journey, and accepting this truth is one of the most liberating and mature steps you can take in life. We often hold on to people because of our memories, attachments, or expectations, believing that those who started with us must also finish with us. But the reality is much different. Life operates in seasons. And just as certain chapters close, certain relationships naturally fade. Trying to force people to stay when their part in your story is over does not preserve your growth, it delays it. Understanding this helps you walk forward with clarity rather than emotional resistance. Some people are placed in your life only to teach you, support you temporarily, or awaken a certain realization within you. They serve a purpose, but they are not meant to be permanent. When they leave, it doesn't mean something went wrong, it simply means their role has been fulfilled. Holding on to them would do more harm than good. When you learn to let go with grace instead of holding on with fear, you step into a deeper level of self-awareness and emotional maturity. You begin to see relationships not as guarantees, but as gifts that enrich your growth, regardless of how long they stay. As you progress, your mindset evolves, your goals shift, and your values mature. Not everyone around you will grow at the same pace. Some may remain stuck in old habits, unwilling to change, while you are striving to become a better version of yourself. If you continue trying to drag those individuals with you, you will eventually slow down or lose your direction. Growth requires space, and sometimes that space is created by distance from people who no longer align with your path. This is not abandonment, it is alignment with your higher purpose. People may also leave because your growth challenges their comfort. When you start dreaming bigger, working harder, or thinking differently, it can make others feel threatened or insecure. Instead of rising with you, they may withdraw or pull you down to maintain their own sense of stability. Recognizing this allows you to separate genuine support from disguised resistance. True companionship uplifts your journey. Anything else becomes a barrier. When you learn to differentiate the two, you naturally gravitate toward environments that nourish your progress rather than hinder it. There are also moments when solitude becomes essential, not because people leave, but because you outgrow the need for constant company. As you mature emotionally and mentally, you begin valuing peace over popularity, depth over attention, and quality over quantity. You learn that your journey is not about having a crowd behind you, but having clarity within you. This understanding prevents you from seeking validation from others or expecting them to walk side by side with you at all times. You develop the strength to walk forward even when the path feels empty. Letting people go is not a sign of coldness or pride. It is a sign of wisdom. It means you trust the process of life enough to allow what is meant to stay, and what is meant to leave. You stop resisting change and start flowing with it. This mindset frees you from emotional dependency and gives you the confidence to walk into new spaces and opportunities without fear. It teaches you that your progress does not depend on who is walking with you, but on how committed you are to moving forward. As you embrace this truth, you begin to notice something powerful. The right people eventually enter your life at the right time. They don't need to be forced or convinced. They resonate with your direction, understand your growth, and support your purpose. But they can only appear once you make space by releasing what no longer belongs. This is why not everyone can join your journey, because the path ahead requires a version of you that only emerges when you walk without those who cannot grow with you. Self-discipline is the foundation of meaningful progress, especially when external motivation fades or when no one is present to push you forward. Motivation is powerful, but it is often temporary. It comes in waves, sometimes strong, sometimes barely noticeable. Depending on it is like waiting for perfect weather before setting sail. You may wait forever. Discipline, however, is the internal engine that keeps you moving regardless of how you feel. It is the ability to act not because the moment is inspiring, but because the action is necessary for your growth and future. When you cultivate discipline, you stop relying on emotional highs and begin relying on consistent habits that move you forward even in silence. There will be days when your energy is low, when your plans don't go smoothly, when your emotions cloud your clarity, and when discouragement whispers that no one would notice if you stopped. These are the exact moments that reveal your strength. Discipline teaches you to rise above your temporary feelings and stay committed to long-term goals. It helps you understand that progress is not always glamorous. Sometimes it is slow, repetitive, and demanding. But it is in those demanding moments that character is built. Anyone can perform well when everything feels right. But discipline ensures that you perform even when nothing feels easy. Relying solely on motivation creates inconsistency. You work hard when you feel inspired and lose momentum when inspiration fades. This inconsistency weakens your confidence because you begin to see yourself as someone who starts but rarely finishes. Discipline removes this instability. It creates structure in your life, allowing you to control your actions instead of being controlled by your emotions. Each disciplined action becomes a small promise kept, reinforcing the belief that you are reliable and capable. Over time, these small promises accumulate, shaping you into someone who can be trusted with greater responsibilities and bigger goals. Discipline also pushes you to break patterns that hold you back. Many people know what they need to do, but knowing is never enough. Doing is what changes your life. Procrastination, excuses, and distractions often stand in your way, pulling you toward comfort and away from progress. Discipline is the force that cuts through these obstacles. It helps you prioritize what truly matters and eliminate what only drains your time and energy. When you learn to control your impulses, you weaken the power that comfort and laziness have over your decisions. Furthermore, developing discipline empowers you to take ownership of your journey. You no longer depend on someone else to inspire you or guide you. You become your own motivator, planner, and evaluator. This level of self-reliance is incredibly freeing because it places your progress entirely in your hands. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and begin creating it. You stop searching for external validation and begin trusting your own commitment. This internal shift allows you to sustain your growth even when circumstances are not ideal. Discipline also creates predictability in your results. While talent and opportunities may fluctuate, discipline ensures that your effort remains steady. It turns your goals into systems and your dreams into daily actions. This consistency builds momentum, and momentum eventually transforms challenges into achievements. Even when the journey is long and demanding, your disciplined habits keep you from falling back into old patterns. You begin to realize that the distance between who you are and who you want to be is traveled not in intense bursts of inspiration, but in steady steps taken every day. Ultimately, discipline shapes your identity. It transforms you into someone who follows through, someone who does the work even when no one is watching, someone who holds themselves to a higher standard. This identity becomes a powerful force because once you see yourself as disciplined, your actions naturally align with that belief. You begin making choices that support your growth, your dreams, and your purpose. And in doing so, you build a life that doesn't depend on motivation to move forward, but on the strength of your own unwavering commitment. Loneliness is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness, but in reality, it can be one of the strongest and most transformative phases of your life. When you find yourself walking alone, you step into a space where distractions fade, noise quiets down, and your inner world becomes clearer. It is in this space that true emotional and mental growth begins. You learn to understand yourself without external influence, and you begin to hear thoughts that were previously drowned out by the opinions and expectations of others. This kind of solitude works like a refining process. It removes the unnecessary and strengthens what truly matters within you. When you are alone, you face emotions that most people spend their lives avoiding. The silence forces you to acknowledge your fears, insecurities, regrets, and unresolved pain. While this may feel uncomfortable, it is also the beginning of deep healing. Being alone teaches you how to sit with your emotions rather than escape them. You begin to develop emotional maturity because you learn to regulate your reactions, understand your triggers, and calm yourself without relying on anyone else. Over time, this emotional independence becomes one of your greatest strengths. You are no longer shaken by temporary situations or dependent on external reassurance to feel stable. Walking alone also builds mental resilience. When you don't have a support system constantly holding you up, you learn how to solve problems independently. You analyze situations more thoughtfully, make decisions with greater confidence, and take responsibility for the outcomes. You become capable of handling challenges without panicking or falling apart. This level of mental strength is not developed when everything is comfortable. It is built through moments of solitude, where you must rely on your own judgment. Each problem you overcome by yourself becomes a reminder of your capabilities and a stepping stone to even greater resilience. Loneliness also pushes you toward self-reliance. When you realize that no one else will push you, encourage you, or guide you, you begin to tap into your inner drive. You shift from waiting for support to becoming your own source of support. This shift is powerful because it transforms you from someone who depends on others to someone who leads themselves. It teaches you responsibility and initiative. You start taking action not because someone asked you to, but because you know it is necessary for your growth. This inner leadership is what eventually sets you apart in a world where most people still look outward for guidance and validation. Another important aspect of walking alone is the clarity it brings. When you distance yourself from the influence of others, you gain a clearer understanding of your goals, values, and direction. You no longer adopt dreams that don't belong to you or pursue paths that were shaped by the expectations of people around you. Instead, you begin choosing what aligns with your purpose. Solitude allows you to see the difference between what is essential and what is simply noise. This clarity becomes the compass that guides your future decisions, making your journey more intentional and meaningful. In addition, being alone enhances your creativity and self-discovery. Without constant external input, your mind has the freedom to wander, explore ideas, and discover talents you may not have recognized before. You begin to experiment, take risks, and explore new possibilities. Many breakthroughs in life, whether personal, emotional, or professional, happen in moments of solitude because your mind is free from comparison and pressure. You learn what inspires you, what challenges you, and what truly fulfills you. This process of self-discovery becomes a crucial part of your identity. Most importantly, loneliness teaches you inner peace. When you stop fearing solitude and start embracing it, you develop a relationship with yourself that is stable and grounding. You become comfortable in your own company, confident in your own thoughts, and at ease with silence. This inner peace becomes your anchor in a chaotic world. No matter who leaves, who stays, or what changes, you remain centered because you have learned to stand strong on your own. Through solitude, you do not become smaller. You become wiser, stronger, and more connected to the best version of yourself. Progress does not always happen in dramatic leaps. More often, it unfolds in quiet, steady steps that may seem insignificant in the moment, but ultimately transform your entire journey. Many people fall into the trap of believing that if change is not immediate or bold, it is not meaningful. This mindset causes frustration, self-doubt, and the urge to quit prematurely. But real growth rarely looks impressive while it's happening. It is slow, subtle, and sometimes invisible to the outside world. What matters is not the speed at which you move, but the fact that you are still moving. Even the smallest step forward is a declaration of your commitment to becoming better than you were yesterday. The danger lies in comparing your pace to others. When you look at someone else's success, you often see the highlight, not the process. You see the victory, but not the years of silent effort. This comparison creates unnecessary pressure and convinces you that your own journey is too slow or not good enough. But every person grows at a different rhythm, shaped by different experiences, challenges, and strengths. Your timeline is unique to you. What appears slow from your perspective may actually be perfectly aligned with the pace required for your development. Instead of feeling discouraged by how long it takes, recognize that slow progress is often the most sustainable and meaningful. It is during the slow phases that discipline is tested and perseverance is built. When results aren't immediate, you learn patience. When effort feels repetitive, you learn consistency. When improvement feels uncertain, you learn resilience. These qualities cannot be developed in rush or haste. They require time, and once built, they stay with you for life. Every small effort you make during this time compounds quietly. You may not notice the changes day by day, but eventually you look back and realize how far you've come because of those small, persistent actions. Moving slowly also allows you to be more intentional. When you are not rushing, you reflect more deeply on your decisions. You learn to understand your motivation, clarify your goals, and refine your strategies. This clarity ensures that you are not just moving for the sake of movement, but moving in the right direction. Progress is not just about speed, it is about alignment. A slow step in the right direction is far more valuable than a fast step toward the wrong one. Patience gives you the wisdom to pace yourself, and pacing yourself gives you the strength to go further than you ever imagined. Many people quit because they underestimate the power of consistency. They take action for a few days or weeks and become discouraged when the results aren't visible. They assume their efforts don't matter. But this is where perspective becomes crucial. Imagine the way water erodes rock, not through force, but through persistence. Imagine how seeds grow, not instantly, but steadily beneath the soil before eventually breaking through. Your efforts work the same way. Even when you can't see immediate results, the foundation is forming, the changes are happening, and the transformation is building beneath the surface. The truth is, every major achievement is made up of countless small steps. Finishing a degree is built on studying one chapter at a time. Building a business starts with one idea, one plan, one action. Improving your health begins with one workout, one meal, one disciplined choice. It is the accumulation of these smaller moments that eventually creates the larger success. When you appreciate the value of small progress, you free yourself from unrealistic expectations and embrace your journey with patience and confidence. The ability to keep moving forward, regardless of the pace, sets you apart. It shows your commitment, your determination, and your belief in yourself. When you continue even when progress feels slow, you demonstrate strength that many lack. Every day you move, you grow. Every day you keep going, you build momentum. And every day you refuse to quit, you bring yourself closer to the life you're working for. Slow progress is still progress, and over time it becomes unstoppable. Leadership is not formed in comfort. It is shaped in solitude, forged in quiet battles, and strengthened through moments when you have no one but yourself to depend on. When you walk alone, you are not simply moving forward. You are undergoing a powerful transformation. You learn to make decisions without leaning on the opinions of others. You develop the ability to stay focused even when distractions pull at you from every direction. And most importantly, you build a level of inner strength that becomes the foundation of genuine leadership. People who can walk alone today become the individuals others naturally follow tomorrow. Walking alone develops a sense of clarity. that is rare in a world filled with noise. You are constantly surrounded by people. It becomes difficult to distinguish your true voice from the voices of those around you. Their fears, doubts, and limitations can quietly influence your choices. Solitude removes that interference. It gives you the mental and emotional space to identify your values, define your priorities, and understand what you truly want from your life. This clarity is essential for leadership because you cannot guide others if you do not first know your own direction. Strong leaders are those who have spent enough time alone to become deeply connected to their purpose. One of the greatest gifts of walking alone is that it teaches you responsibility. When no one is there to push you, remind you, or encourage you, you learn to rely on your own initiative. You begin to understand that your progress is your responsibility. This sense of accountability becomes the backbone of leadership. Leaders do not wait for someone else to ignite their drive. They take action because they understand the value of consistency and commitment. They become dependable, disciplined, and self-motivated. These qualities are not developed in groups. They are shaped through personal effort and the willingness to keep going even when support is absent. Solitude also strengthens your resilience. When the journey becomes difficult and the path becomes uncertain, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. But when you have experienced walking alone, you develop the emotional endurance to handle adversity without falling apart. You learn how to stay calm in stressful situations, how to approach challenges strategically, and how to find solutions without relying on external help. This resilience becomes a defining trait of leadership. People naturally trust and follow those who remain steady under pressure. They look to the individuals who can stand firm when others hesitate. That strength is built through experiences where you had no choice but to stand firm for yourself. Another powerful benefit of walking alone is the expansion of your inner confidence. Each step you take independently serves as proof that you are capable. With every challenge you overcome, you strengthen your belief in yourself. Over time, this builds an authentic confidence that is not based on validation or praise, but on evidence. Leaders with this kind of confidence are not easily shaken. They do not crumble under criticism, nor do they lose themselves trying to please others. They remain grounded, focused, and aligned with their goals. This authenticity attracts others, because people gravitate toward those who are secure in their identity. Walking alone also teaches you empathy, an essential aspect of leadership. When you experience the struggles, challenges, and uncertainties of walking a difficult path alone, you become more understanding of the struggles that others face. You develop compassion, patience, and humility. These qualities help you connect with others on a deeper level. Leaders who lack empathy may command authority, but they rarely inspire loyalty. True leaders inspire because they lead with understanding. They remember what it feels like to have no support, and they use that awareness to uplift those around them. Finally, walking alone prepares you for the moments when you will eventually lead others. Leadership is not about position, it is about influence, example, and character. The habits, resilience, clarity, and confidence you build in solitude become the tools you later use to guide and support others. People follow leaders who have walked through challenges themselves, not those who have simply spoken about them. The solitude you embrace today creates the strength, wisdom, and discipline that will elevate you tomorrow. In this way, walking alone becomes the training ground that shapes you into the kind of person others trust, respect, and willingly follow. So, my friends, don't wait for the world to join you. Take the first step. Force yourself to move forward alone if you must. Because the journey may start alone, but the destination will attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right blessings. Keep walking, keep growing, keep rising. Your future self is waiting for you, just one brave step ahead. Thank you.